Hi, my name is Tim van der Wiel. I'm one of the two founders of Go Spooky, and I'm very happy to be here with you today. I'm going to talk about how immersive technology is going to transform the internet at last. And before I founded my own company, I worked at several other companies. I worked at a big record label where I was responsible for all digital, worked with the biggest DJs in the world. And right now we're with 100 people at Go Spooky. We recently launched our office in New York City, which was always a big childhood dream of mine, and I'm very happy to share some of the things that we've been working on and how we view the world with you today. At Go Spooky, we have a very simple mission, and that's to keep leading brands at the forefront of social. Why is this such an important mission? It's because the world is getting exponentially crazier. If I look at the things that have happened the last 3 months, that's more than has happened in the first 3 years that I founded the company. It's crazy when you think about it, about large language models like GPT-4, the advancements in mixed reality, augmented reality. It's crazy what's happening, and the developments get exponentially better. I would even say that we're in hyperbolic growth right now. So our mission is to keep leading brands at the forefront of what's happening on the most leading digital platforms today. So who do we work with? We work with some of the best brands in the world. Think like brands like Nike, McDonald's, Amazon, but also with the platforms themselves. So we count Snap, Meta, TikTok also as our clients. And I will show you a bit a small impression video.
Minecraft with 8D audio.
What else can be done?
Okay, I like it. Picasso.
Und dann erscheint unser letztes.
So today we were talking about how immersive technology is transforming the internet, and I think there's a lot being said about this. Some call it the metaverse, some call it something else. But tech companies are betting billions and billions on these technologies. I think Apple is coming with their headset later this year, and this has been going on for almost a decade. And why are they doing this? And why do some call it the metaverse, while some others don't know what it means? So, looking at that term, the metaverse, what do we? If we look at some of the tech leaders today, if we look at Mark Zuckerberg, he describes it as an embodied internet, an internet where you're not just viewing content, but you're in it. Then we have the CEO of Match, which you can know them from apps like Tinder. He calls it a piano bar where people's digital selves are gathering around, but they're actually playing their pianos at home and jamming with others. And then we have the CEO of Niantic. You can know Niantic from Pokemon Go. And he calls the metaverse a possible dystopian nightmare. But how do we see it? And we came up with a term how to describe this next generation of the internet the best. And we see it as the metaverse as the next generation of the internet that is always real time, mostly 3D, mostly interactive, mostly social, and mostly persistent. So I think the biggest thing that you have to remember from this is the next generation of the internet. But if we zoom a bit further into this, and we start with always real time, like the internet today is not real time. Some of it is real time. This presentation right now is real time. If you're watching a movie, the movie is not real time. What is real time? Some online multiplayer games, Call of Duty, FIFA, those games are real time. But we're moving to an internet that's going to be always real time, just like real life. Secondly, mostly 3D. And with 3D, we mean an internet that you can step into. Like, you can try on some new shoes, you can try walk into a 3D digital space, but just like the real world, the next internet is going to be mostly 3D. Mostly interactive, so everything that you see, you can interact with. You could think of seeing content or seeing data around you, interact with it. It will be contextual to the world around you. You could take an object, place it somewhere else. Interactivity. Mostly social. So when we think about social nowadays, we think about like a tweet or an Instagram post or anything. We believe that the internet is going to be mostly social. So shared social experiences, everything that you can do it with others. Also, just like real life. And persistence. I think persistence is a very important part. If you move that object from there to here and you come back tomorrow, you would like that object will still be there. And when we talk about the next step of the internet today, it has millions of destinations. So we see the next step in the evolution of the internet as today, maybe 3-4% of websites they fit that criteria. And I'm gonna stop for a bold prediction. I believe that by 2030, more than 80% of the whole internet fits the criteria that I just mentioned. So I think a big part of what you hear happening is that you hear the word presence a lot. It's all about that feeling of presence. And what we mean by presence is that those are experiences that feel real. Those are experiences that you have the feeling that you're just right there in the moment. And I think the best online multiplayer games like Call of Duty or Fortnite or some of these really good games, they give you this feeling of presence, like being right there inside of the game. But this is also the biggest challenge. So creating technology, creating experiences that feel real and that give you a sense of presence in this new world. So when we talk about destinations, so I don't believe there will be one like next internet or like one metaverse. I believe that there will be millions, even billions of destinations. Just like the internet today, with millions of websites, there will be millions of places to visit. I don't think it's logical that a Netflix would do something in like the space or on the platform of Disney, the same that eBay won't do something on Amazon's part, and the same that Call of Duty won't do something in Roblox. So I think that all these brands, all these creators, everyone will be able to create their own spaces, and that interconnected web of networks, that's what we would call like the metaverse or the next generation of internet. Let's do a bit of a deep dive into the different destinations. So I think the first one will be fully digital. And you can think of some examples today are like Fortnite, Roblox, some online multiplayer games, but people go here to basically connect with others, be social, play games, go on an adventure, and these experiences or these destinations, they don't really have real interconnection with real life. I think the second part is what we call, the second type of destination is what we call digital twins. So as the name already says, those are like applications that connect real life with the digital. So you could think of trying a new pair of Nike shoes in a virtual space, or you could think of seeing your house that's being built and having a really good view of having a really good view on what your view is going to be from your bedroom. Really bridging the digital to the real world. And lastly, we have real-life augmentation, or also called augmented reality. And this is basically creating experiences and showcasing data on top of the real world. So creating contextual experiences that interact with the world around you. Some of the biggest, I think, some of the biggest experience that we all know is like Pokemon Go. They really push this very early. Or you could think of like a virtual city tour of the center of Utrecht or Amsterdam by a local celebrity, or interact with your favorite store while you're in front of it. And when we talk about the metaverse, everyone who tells you that they're in a metaverse, every brand that tells you they're into some kind of this, they're lying. It doesn't exist, and it won't be here for, I think, the next 5 years. So at the same time, you see all of these technologies, all of the big tech companies investing. I think the building blocks of the next internet is being built today. So big Facebook, Snapchat, Google, Amazon, Apple, they're all building the foundations today for what they believe is going to be that next generation of the internet. So it's really something that's happening today, and it's really worthwhile to jump in this today as well. And I think when a lot of people, when we talk about this next generation of the internet, a lot of people think about like some kind of matrix, a dystopian world where we don't, a dystopian world where we don't go outside, and we stay inside all day. But I don't believe that. I think the next internet will mostly be the world around us. Not VR, but AR. And I think that's because humans are social creatures. They want to connect, they want to go out, they want to explore. And I think while technology today is mostly interrupting in our daily lives, I think the next wave of computing will mostly add more value to our lives and be very contextual, mostly like a personal agent. So I think as creators, as developers, as companies, I think we should have the vision of how can we enhance reality, don't replace it. I think this is very, very important. We're now in the building phase of what this technology is going to be, and we should be very careful, I think, and also we should be very careful with which companies we want to build, this next internet with. Then we have AI, and I think we just had a really amazing presentation, but I think AI will really act as our personal agent. And this, I think, will be one of the most transformative technologies of our generation. It's crazy that's all happening in like what seems like a couple of years. I think AI took 10 years to become an overnight success, but we see this mostly as, we think that big language models, big computer vision models will bring the context to the world around us. And when you combine computer vision models with like large language models like GPT-4, you will get very powerful applications. Here you see an example of an AI just filtering what we call a NeRF, neural radiance field. And this technology is so powerful because I believe that most of the interfaces that we use today, like tapping an app on your phone, just clicking on a web store, searching for like different categories. Every time that I open a menu on a website, I think, why am I doing this? And with this technology, you could just point to a pair of shoes and you could ask like, hey, are these available in my size? And the AI, they will know what kind of what pair of shoes these are. They will know your shoe size, and it will search for the best option to buy it. No interface needed. It's mostly it will really act as our personal agent, and everyone is getting a personal assistant not that long from now. And I think if you combine this technology with augmented reality, I think we're not really long from now. We're going to ask ourselves, like, hey, how did we ever live without augmented reality? Just like how we ask ourselves the question, how did our parents live without the internet? I think that's how transformative this technology is going to be, and it basically will transform it will basically transform most of the things that we know today. So, how can you be successful in this space? And what do you need to do? So basically, when you want to be successful in this space, it really takes a different mindset to create. So whether you're a developer or you're a designer or a brand or whatever, it really takes a different mindset. And I think when we look at the old way of doing things, and we do a lot of marketing with big corporations, this is the biggest mistake that they still make. It's like, hey, the old way is really of pushing your message in the hope that someone will see it. Just creating something, just push it out there, television, radio, doesn't really matter, just push it out there in the hope that someone will see it and will think, hey, that's an interesting brand. Brands are basically intruding into the experience, and the internet was the first place that wasn't made for brands. It was made for humans to connect. And that's only going to be even more important because nobody wants this. When we're going to live in a world that's mostly contextual, when we have our glasses on or through our phones or through other hardware, just pushing your work or just pushing your message won't work. And I think this is also an example of why privacy is such an important topic. Otherwise, we will need a really next level ad blocker. But I think the most important part is, and what's the most important part to remember is how can you create something that actually adds value to people's lives instead of interrupting them? And this is really easily said, but it's harder to be done. So we see that happening basically two ways. We see that you can add value to people's lives by providing them with entertainment or with utility. So with entertainment, you can think of creating stories that people want to participate in or moments that people want to share. Think of games, think of performances, think of education. We are now really big in this thing called experiential learning, where you just create an experience, and throughout the experience, somebody learns something. So, for example, we collaborated with the Red Cross to teach people how to give CPR using augmented reality, which works way, way better than people reading about it or watching a video about it, them being in the moment. Then the other part is about utility, so solving problems and really adding value to people's daily lives. So this could be in the form of the example that you see here, virtual shopping, trying on a new pair of sneakers, but it could also be like booking a restaurant while you're in front of it, or understanding the better understanding of the world around you. So the first part of creating something that people actually want to use is think of the people that you want to reach. So create for the community. And I think this is really a different game. And immersive technology is also a really different game. So people take 3 or 4, sometimes even 5, 6 considerate steps before they step into an experience. So they open their phone, they open an app, they tap on an experience, or they search for an experience. And at the moment when they're there, or they have their headset on, the moment when they arrive in that experience, they actually want to be in it. So as a creator, the best thing that you can do is create something that's non-intrusive and basically create the best experience possible. One thing what we did was for Jeep, we created an utility experience for people to discover more about different Jeeps around the world. Basically, it was built on the very simple insight that every Jeep that you have, every model of Jeep, they have this unique 7-slot grille on the front. So we used machine learning, we trained a model basically to recognize every Jeep out there and then create an experience on top.
The frictionless experience that happens on Snap allows you to kind of jump into and understand that vehicle that you see right before your eyes.
And that was quite a challenge. So to make one model that recognizes all these different Jeep models was a challenge, but we did it, and we never did it before.
Basically what we did is we created hundreds of thousands of new Jeep dealerships without laying a single brick. And I think the technology that you're seeing here, like computer vision models, in combination with products that you see around you, now Jeep has it, but turning a product into like a platform or a gateway to new content experiences, it's something that every brand is going to have 5 years from now. So another example is something that we created for in collaboration with Live Nation. So what is the biggest, little question, what's the biggest challenge at a festival? Someone, just shout. Sorry? Finding people, exactly. You've lost your friends. So I think we've all been there, like, where are you? Yeah, links 4. And it just doesn't work. And we tried to solve this using AR. Basically, we created this experience where you can just open your camera, point your camera in the sky, and it will just tell you where your friends are on the feet, on like the meter accuracy. So besides that, we worked with Live Nation to like look at how can we transform the festival experience and how can we enhance the festival experience using augmented reality, finding your friends, having performances that are AR visuals that are in sync with the music, or even AR activated merch. Let's take a look.
Take me to another day. Bright
So I think if you create something that people actually want to use, I think it's one of the most important things. So understanding your user, and creating the best experience possible. I think second, it's about context. It's about contextualizing for the user. And I think augmented reality especially, but also VR, it's one of the most, it's a different game to design for it. And I think as creators and as building interfaces and developers, I think we are all trained. We've been trained to design for rectangles. So whether it's a bigger screen, a smaller screen, we are designed to design for screens. We get to decide what people see. We have full control of like interfaces, of experiences. But this is not the case with immersive technology. It's when you're creating for immersive tech, you don't own 100% of the pixels. So in like a general augmented reality experience, you maybe own 20% of the pixels. So you're handing over control to the user, and you take about like 20% of what people are seeing. So creating something that's contextual to the user wherever they are, if they're like in this on a big stage, or when they're in their living room or in the train or whatever, to create something that's contextual to them and that works in different environments is very, very important. So with AR and with immersive technology, you're basically asking people to take the content and make it their own, create their own story, create something that's shareable for them. If you're designing a house, you should not only think how the house looks in front, but also what happens when you walk around it. Very simple things, but it's a different mindset when creating. We did the same thing for Tiffany & Co. in London, where we basically took the Saatchi & Saatchi gallery for their 150th anniversary, and basically turned the whole building into a jewel.
Tiffany & Co. is celebrating their 150th anniversary in London. So we partnered with Snapchat to create an AR experience for their Vision and Virtuosity exhibition. By combining the latest custom landmarker technology with LiDAR and photogrammetry, we created the London Saatchi Gallery in 3D, allowing us to transform the iconic facade of the building into a wall of diamonds using our phones, empowering people to experience the Tiffany collection in a way unlike any other. Head over to London Saatchi Gallery and try it yourself.
I think to close off as well, I think the third part is about experimentation and experiment a lot. I think there's so much happening right now in the world, whether it's about computer vision models, whether it's about augmented reality, virtual reality, gaming. Eventually everything is going to merge into this next generation of the internet, but go explore different platforms. Go download all the software that's out there. Go download Lens Studio, Spark AR, Niantic Lightship. Go download Unreal Editor, the Fortnite editor. They just did a huge update this week. I think it's going to be massive, but try it out. Every day there are new opportunities, and every day something is popping up. And I think we're now going into a time, we're living all together in a time when there's never been a better time to have a great idea. Basically, the platforms are out there. Most of the knowledge and the tech is for free. You can just do it all on your laptop or on your phone. But you really need to be in the forefront of innovation here. The rules aren't written yet. I truly believe that this is one of the most that this is going to be one hell of a ride. I think it's one of the most exciting storytelling formats since the invention of film. And it's all happening in front of our eyes. And go out there, go create something. Would love to see it. I'm Tim van der Wiel. Thank you so much for your time. And